It was raining heavily when I received a call from a volunteer in a nearby town. They had found a stray dog hiding beside a broken wall, barely able to move. We receive rescue requests every day, but with limited people and resources, we can't respond to every call. Still, after seeing the photos, I knew this was a life we couldn't leave behind. When I arrived, the little dog was curled into the corner, soaked from the rain and shaking with fear. At first, I thought his injured eye was the only problem. But as I moved closer, I realized the situation was far worse. His right eye was swollen shut, crawling with maggots beneath the eyelid. He didn't try to attack me. Instead, he kept backing away, desperately searching for another place to hide. I gently wrapped him in a blanket and carried him to our rescue vehicle. During the drive, he stayed completely silent, exhausted from pain and too weak to resist. Looking out through the rain-covered windshield, I decided to call him Noah. Somehow it felt like a name that belonged to a survivor. Back at our veterinary clinic, we carefully shaved away the dirty fur around his head. What we discovered shocked everyone. The infection wasn't only around his eye. His neck, shoulders, and upper back were also badly damaged. Underneath the skin were deep pockets filled with maggots, and parts of the tissue had already begun separating from the muscle. For a few seconds, nobody spoke. Even after years of rescue work, this was one of the worst cases we had ever seen. Noah had clearly suffered for days, maybe even weeks, without anyone helping him. Our senior veterinarian rushed over from the city to examine him. After discussing his condition, we all reached the same conclusion. Emergency surgery was his only chance. The risks were extremely high, and no one could promise he would survive, but giving up wasn't an option. As long as there was even a small chance, we had to fight for him. The surgery lasted several hours. Every infected area was cleaned, damaged tissue was removed, and his wounds were flushed again and again. When everything was finally over, all we could do was wait. The first night felt endless. The next morning, Noah slowly lifted his head. He was still weak, but he was alive. That tiny movement filled the entire clinic with hope. Over the following days, he received antibiotics, pain medication, and daily wound care. At first, he barely ate. Then he started finishing small meals. Every day, his eyes looked brighter, and every day, he trusted us a little more. The biggest change wasn't his body. It was his heart. The frightened dog, who once hid from every human hand, began waiting at the kennel door whenever he heard our footsteps. One afternoon, while I changed his bandages, he gently rested his head against my arm. It lasted only a moment, but after everything he had endured, that simple gesture meant he had finally chosen to trust again. A few weeks later, Noah walked outside under clear blue skies. There was no storm, no fear, and no desperate search for somewhere to hide. He stood quietly, feeling the warm sunlight on his face for the first time in what must have felt like forever. His scars will always remain, but they no longer tell a story of suffering alone. They tell the story of resilience, compassion, and a second chance. Noah reminded me that rescue isn't about performing miracles. Sometimes it's simply about refusing to abandon a life that everyone else has already given up on. And for one little dog who arrived on the rainiest day of the year, that decision changed everything.